It's currently stinking hot outside. It's getting to that time of year again where everything is unbearable outdoors. Haven't got the air conditioning on yet. It's not hot enough for that, but sooner or later it's going to get that way. I feel sorry for the animals that are out there. The horse is trying to find shade. The sheep have still got wool on and they're getting hot. We put off shearing them because we were getting really cold spells at night, and I think that was a bad move. We've got the shearer coming next weekend if it's not raining. But I wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind for a while now. Our GPs, our doctors. How many of you find that the duty of care that your doctors used to show 20, 30 years ago is no longer there? You walk into a doctor's surgery and it's like a production line. Not only do you have an appointment that you have to wait an hour and a half before you attend, but when you do manage to get inside after waiting, so you've got an appointment for say 12:30, and you don't get in there till 2 o'clock, and then they sit you down, ask you what the problem is, put a blood pressure monitor on you, listen to your chest with a stethoscope, come to a very quick conclusion, and throw you out the door. Uh, I see it as an attempt to turn over as many patients as possible in a day so they can maximize profits. That's all they're interested in. That care that your GP used to show many years ago is no longer there. I remember going to the doctor. Not only were you seen quickly, you had an appointment within 5-10 minutes, you were in to see the doctor within 5 to 10 minutes of your appointment. But the doctor also spent 20 minutes, half an hour in most cases with you, going through a whole lot of questions, asking you all sorts of things, trying to get to the bottom of what it is that was ailing you. And it's not only a production line today, but it's also doctor surgeries are like research labs. You walk in there, and let's say you got a mental health issue, and or you're being treated for a mental health condition, and they've got you on a certain medication. And I know someone who that this happened to, and the doctor with this particular person would say to them, "Look, the medication you're on at the moment doesn't seem to be working. We should change it and put you on something else that might be better for you. Now, I'll give you this for free. You don't have to get a prescription from the chemist. I have it here. I'll give it to you. You just need to get back to me. They give you, a time. They make an appointment for you to go back in and see them, or they ask you to finish the course and then make an appointment to go in and see them. So you can tell them how you're feeling, so they can see what the results are from you taking that medication. So it's an experimental drug that is being given to patients. Uh, so the pharmaceutical companies can collect feedback. We're being used as guinea pigs. They're trialing drugs on people. They're using people as guinea pigs. And this is what's happening: is the doctors are in cahoots with the pharmaceutical companies. They get kickbacks. They get free trips. They get dinners. They get all sorts of benefits for pushing certain drugs on patients. I remember many years ago, my wife suffers with MS, and she went to see a doctor, and she was describing that she had some issues with with like she felt like she was getting electric shocks, and nerve issues, neuropathy in her legs, and she was suffering severe restless leg issues. So he said to her, "I'll give you a prescription. Um, you go to the chemist and fill it. It should help." I looked at the prescription, and it was Endone and OxyContin. I said, "Is this not uh, addictive? These drugs are addictive, aren't they? Not if you take them according to how you're supposed to take them," he said. Well, that's a load of bullshit because we all know that both Endone and OxyContin, and it's proven now, are opioids that eventually lose efficacy. They don't work as well. Your body becomes used to them, and the dose needs to be upped. And there was a whole movie made up about Michael Keating was in that film. There was a movie made about that. It's called Dope Sick. It's a good movie to watch. It's how Purdue Pharma pushed the opioids on the American public and generated a massive opioid epidemic. People were falling dead on the streets. People were falling dead in their houses. They were dying in their sleep. They were overdosing on opioids. And we moved out here to where we live now. And we were living in a caravan at the time because we hadn't started building the house yet. And I remember one night my wife got really bad restless legs. She suffers from restless leg syndrome. And I took her to the hospital. Now, mind you, we were living in a caravan, so she was covered in mozzie bites at the time. And she had scratched a few of them. And the doctors were treating her like a second class citizen, like a scumbag. And I said, well, "What's the problem?" I said to the nurse. She said, "Is your wife on any kind of drugs?" I said, "Yeah." She gave you the list of drugs she's on. She's on prescription medications. "No, I mean illicit substances." "No, she's not." "Well, she's showing signs of crystal meth." I said, "No, my wife's not on crystal meth. She's on opioids, but she's not on crystal meth." And this doctor turned up, and he was in a rage. He wasn't a very happy chappie. And he looked her over very quickly and walked away, disappeared. I said to the nurse, "Where's the doctor?" She said, "Oh, he came, he looked at her, he's evaluated her, and he's written a prescription. We're going to prepare her to send her home. You have to get this prescription filled tomorrow." I said, "What is it?" "It's a patch that she has to wear." So we went to the chemist the next day. Mind you, this doctor was pissed off because he was on call, but he had booked a dinner date with his wife on a night that he's on call. And he got the shits, even though he's on call and getting paid to be on call, that he had to get called in. Go figure that one out. So we filled the prescription the next day. And about a week later, I used to work for a mowing contractor, and I was talking to an old vet that sat down in the park to have lunch with us. He used to be the vet in this town. Um, he had a veterinary surgery. He sold it on, and he was not a well person either. He was sick. And he was asking me how my wife was because he'd heard that she was not well. And I said, "Oh," I said, "they've put her on new medication." "What medication have they put her on?" I said, "Something called fentanyl." He said, "Fentanyl?" I said, "Yeah, the patch, slow release." He said, "Go home, talk to your wife, and tell her that she needs to go see her doctor and get off it now." I said, "Why?" He said, "We used to take fentanyl, dissolve it in a test tube, the patches, dissolve them in a test tube, and we used to soak a dart in it and take down bucks, deer, with it, with a blow dart." He said, we used to take down deer with it. He said, it'll knock a deer out. He said, it's highly addictive, very bad drug. Get her off it. So I spoke to my wife anyway. We were at the chemist this one day, and a young assistant at the chemist came over to her and she said, I hear that you've got restless leg syndrome, RLS. She said, there is a medication that's not as dangerous. They give it to Parkinson's patients. And it's called Cifrol. She said, it'll help with your restless leg syndrome. And it did. And it wasn't as dangerous, even though it has its side effects, it wasn't as dangerous as that lethal fentanyl stuff. According to the vet, fentanyl is only given to people who are in end-stage cancer. And, you know, they're in the end stages of their illness to keep away the pain. And this guy put her on it, just looked at her and wrote a prescription and sent her on her way. This is the kind of medical system we're dealing with today. I hate going to the doctor. The reason I hate going to the doctor is because I know that I don't trust what they're telling me. I don't trust that they got my best interests at heart. Here in Australia, we've still got doctors pushing the COVID-19 vaccine every chance they get when you go in to see them. Now, with all the evidence against the vaccines out there, and there are reputable science people talking about this, why would you still be pushing this nasty jab on the population, on your patients? If you really cared about your patients, that is. But the truth is, they don't care about their patients. They care about the money they're making. That's all they care about. It's shameful. But when they go through university and they get to the end where they're getting their degree, they make an oath. And that oath is that they will do no harm, the Hippocratic Oath. First, do no harm is the main part of that oath. Well, there's a lot of doctors out there doing a hell of a lot of harm. A hell of a lot of harm. So, people, go to the doctor. If you've got a broken leg, go to the doctor. If you've got a dislocated shoulder. But when you go to the doctor for anything else, take what they say with a pinch of salt and do your own research as well. Because the only thing they know is how to prescribe drugs. That's all they know. How to mask symptoms. They don't know how to treat anything. They don't know how to prevent anything. They don't know how to cure anything. They only know how to manage the symptoms. That's all they know. It's sad, but it's true.